Morning, morning, everybody. Michelle is here on this November the 17th, 2023, on a Friday. Wow. That means, whoa, right? It's already November the 17th, 2023. And I was talking to somebody. I can't remember who I was talking to, but they were like talking about how everything's speeding up, speeding up, speeding up. Or there's a sense of it. And I sense that too, that that things are kind of speeding up, so to speak, or we're just finally paying attention. A lot of people are coming out of a trance. I think that may be more so the issue than anything else. In other words, all of this cosmic events, all this climate events, climate destruction, whatever you want to call it, it's been happening right under our nose, and we just haven't been paying attention. We haven't been grounded in our reality to even know what's going on. I notice, and that could be because of where I am now. I necessarily don't see a lot of people on their cell phones, but they're definitely on them. But what I do see is people kind of rushing around. So you can't rush around when you got a cell phone in your hand, and try to look at a cell phone. I mean, that's dangerous, but people do what they do. I know people stop for a moment and take their little selfies and this and that and the other, and then go on their way. It's become a habit and routine for a lot of people to take a selfie every day. And I'm not sure why. Some may be doing it so they'll have a storage of images for their children, for their loved ones, just in case something happens, or to document where they are, and that's smart too. Because I know one of my relatives, my little young relatives, see, they're extremely creative, but they kind of film themselves when they go into certain situations, or at least have themselves, so they'll have stuff documented just in case something happens to them. Especially if they're getting pulled over, and because I do the same thing when I get pulled over. Yeah, I get pulled over too. I make sure I'm filming myself now. I mean, it's so weird that we have to do these kind of things. Yep. I make sure my cell phone is on. I got my camera on me and it's more so listening to the conversation as well, because it's sometimes it's hard to capture every event that may be happening to you. Just in case, you get pulled out of your vehicle. How are you going to be filming that? You're not. So that's why it's important to at least have the audio. Audio is just as important, because it's kind of hard to doctor or manipulate audio. But it can be done. But I'm saying if it's coming from a cell phone, it's hard to do that. But anybody can find software to do anything. But when it comes to, I'm just being honest, when it comes to law enforcement, and they have said this to their communities with their body cameras, okay, it goes through a series of events of people monitoring them and viewing them before they're released to the public. So don't be in denial about that. In other words, because when I had a body camera on, it was hard for me to get the angle correct too, to know what my actions are and what the other person's actions are. You'll get it's just a series of blah blah blah, but the audio is usually flows. Okay, that's what I mean. Sounds and tones flow. Okay, so if there's so that's how you'll know if there's something been doctored, based on how it sounds and the tones, the melody, the rhythm of how someone is speaking. Okay, someone that has a strong ear, which is those those intellectual talking heads, and I'm an intellectual talking head too. That's why I can tease you, as well as a visionary. But a lot of us have combinations, and I told you that. But I know that people that are auditories, they pick up stuff. Okay, and they can pick up deceptions, and they don't know that. There's a lot of auditory types can pick up in the tone of someone if they're telling you the truth or not. Did you know that? Because you could pick up tones and oscillations. If you're paying attention, I know it's hard to pick up, but you could pick up some deception in sound. That's all I'm saying. It takes some practice, of course, because see, as in most cases, the people that are worked around me and as first responders, we were all visionaries. In other words, we were paying attention to what we see, okay, and what's going on around us. And so that's why a lot of times, as a visionary person, you can make a lot of mistakes if you're not incorporating what you hear and feel. Okay, that's when I say, well, you can become delusional and be hallucinating. Okay, because that's where visionaries have a strength and weakness, and we all do, and we all need to recognize that. As a visionary person, if you have not grounded yourself in reality and checked out and checked off all those sensing, like I said in the beginning, what do I hear? You need to go through all that if you can, and then attempt to assess the situation. I know that's difficult in law enforcement, but I would suggest, instead of relying so much on what you see, make sure you. I mean, when there's a crime in progress, to me it's dangerous to just kind of run up into a situation, because you see a group of people around, everybody standing around each other, and then you come running up there like Rambo or something, and attempting to break up something that may not even be anything going on. People just standing around talking. Certain cultures like to do that. They like to congregate all around, these convenience stores, more so convenience stores, out there socializing. And then one person will come up and then another, or they're in the park and everybody's standing around, watching somebody playing some kind of, a dice game or some type of game or gambling or whatever they want to call it now. But we called it something else growing up. I can't remember. So it's just going to take a lot of willingness to change your behaviors in law enforcement, or any type of entity, actually, where you're dealing with intense matters with the public, especially now during this holiday season. It usually starts around this season. And I say this season, around November. In the month of November, Thanksgiving. I remember as a 911 operator, we got nothing but domestic calls around Thanksgiving, around gatherings of people. And sometimes with that situation, so what was different about that time when I was a young girl is there were no weapons involved. People arguing and carrying on. Yeah, they'll argue. Some may be fighting, and after a while, everybody go home. Like I said, I don't remember ever having a police officer coming in our neighborhood breaking up anything. I just don't remember it. Okay, so, but now but as time as the damage was done, and it started showing up in the 80s and above, 80s and up. That's when weapons started getting introduced. Box cutters. Remember them box cutters with people slashing you up? Some people still have them scars on their face to, where they would attack, mostly on the neck though. I see a lot of that. Even when I watch some videos, I see people with injuries to their neck. You could tell they were cut somehow, or on the side of their face or whatever. Sometimes on their arms, where they were hit with a box cutter. And then of course, the guns came in. Because they were brought into the neighborhood. No matter what anyone tells you, handguns and all type of weapons of such were brought into the neighborhood, were introduced into the neighborhood. Okay, I told you about Reagan. Reagan was a drug lord, in my opinion. Okay, and he put the weapons in a particular neighborhood, put the drugs there so that he can raise some money for what? For war. Of course. It's always about war. Always about war and conquering people. And so the powers that be will use communities to fund their wars. So I told you, War pays the bills. Okay, war pays the bills. Peace and love does not. So what is it? What do you want then? I introduced I didn't introduce, but we were introduced to having instead of having police officers, have peace officers. It means that their whole intention is about peace and nothing else. It's not about interfering per se. It's not about, you can sometimes you might have to, well, who knows what happens now. Sometimes you just got to change your protocol and change your point of view and ask yourself, okay, how can I bring peace to this environment? Do I need to be running lights and sirens and with flashing lights and stuff? I don't know. Look, law enforcement is one of the hardest places to make an impact if you're coming from the outside. Okay, I was inside at one point, and I know that for a fact. They put that's why they call it the blue wall. They're not going to allow any input in at all. So they're going to wait until, they're going to lose officers, not from anything but losing officers from themselves. In other words, when officers start committing suicide, because they know that the pressure is on. There's always a constant pressure on them. And, they get it from the communities. You remember back in the day when Nancy Reagan was also, she was promoting that, what was she promoting? Something about drugs. Say no to drugs and this and that and the other. That was such a contradiction. It was just, if you think about it, okay, her husband is a drug lord. And these are my theories and opinions. Take it from the impersonal. If you guys love Reagan, look at this from what I'm saying from an impersonal, though, and pay attention to his behaviors and actions. And you tell me what you pick up from that. We're going to have to do that if we choose to, or you're just going to stay offended and mad and wanting to seek revenge and retaliation from people when they're telling you, just think a little differently. Okay? Change your mode of thinking. Okay, it's a contradiction to say that there is a war on drugs when your partner is a drug lord. Isn't that a contradiction? We have proof of it. Okay, remember those committees, those circus committees that they had drilling this one guy that they thought he was a hero because of what he was doing? Come on now. Did we forget? And a lot of people have forgotten. That's our major fatal flaw. Unfortunately, is that we keep forgetting. Nothing sticks. It'll ruminate, but it's not necessarily because of the rumination about irrelevancy. It's just nothing comes in. It's just like a grinding. I do everything in my power to make a visual, but that can be hard. That can be hard. So, but I told you on my podcast, I'll probably do a podcast later today. See if you can pick up contradictions in a impersonal matter. Don't take on stuff so seriously and be so, we're tight enough. We're restricted enough. We have plenty, the blood clot is there and it's just growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. At some point, it's going to combust, and that's going to be the end of it, literally, figuratively, and metaphorically. So, yeah, just see if you can pick up contradictions from people that are intellectual talking heads that are on the television set, and have fun with it. Do it with your friends that you don't, and don't let them know you're doing it. Look, hey, I'm going to figure out if you have any contradictions. Just have fun with it and say, okay, especially if you know the person, it may be your best friend, maybe your partner. See if you can pick up some contradictions. Like, okay, like I said, have fun with it. Don't use it against people. Just let it be a lesson to you that You don't know people the way you thought you did, or there's some things you thought you knew, but you don't know, and that's mostly the case anyway. As you're a developing human being, you're gonna pick up things that you did not know exist, as far as the reality, actual, genuine realities. Okay, actual, genuine realities, which means that all because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Okay, sometimes I'll be at a certain angle where when the sun is shining, you see all that dust in that light of of sunlight. Have you noticed that? We're breathing in all of that, by the way. You'll see the sunlight, and then all of a sudden you see there's just a lot of dust in that sunlight, and it's like, wow, you never would have noticed it otherwise. That's how we develop and how we start picking up things. A lot of people are hallucinating, unfortunately, about what they see, and they're in a kind of a trance, or they're just attempting to sound important. Talking about, they always see something in the sky. Yes, you possibly do see something in the sky, but I said that's been going on for millions of years. So there's nothing spectacular about it. But you can document it. But it does make you special. That's my point. All because you can see something in the sky. Everybody ought to see something in the sky, because there's something always there. Now, whatever it is, okay, whether it's identified or not, it's been up there circling this planet for millions of years. We just haven't put the pieces together, and for reasons that I hope it's becoming clear, we have been intentionally left out of certain conversations, left out of certain information. It's about the need to know. Okay, and on behalf of the those in the pyramid, hiding and not disclosing the truth to you about, if you sign up for their products, they don't tell you that there's a backstory to a lot of that. In other words, you probably can't even get out of the contract. And then they'll say, well, you signed the contract, and knowing that most people do not read contracts, because most of them are illegible, okay, and they require a lawyer. So I use lawyers for my stuff that I've, in order to protect myself. I just use lawyers for that, okay, and rely on them to, at least assist me, and because I'm a small business, whatever, a one-man show right now. But once I start my nonprofit, I'll bring in some help with that. And I just need to know that I'm protected, and a nonprofit does protect me, because it comes from it's I, then it's we, and then it's us, and then it no longer belongs to me. Okay, all right. So I just want to go ahead and share some things this morning on this overcast Friday. I'm doing fantastic, magnificent, and marvelous. I deal with my realities head on. I don't push nothing onto anybody. I take responsibility, and I hold myself accountable for what I do and my behaviors and actions, and also what I put out. What I put out is information, okay? Not to indoctrinate you, manipulate you, deceive you. I know some people do certain things just to get a lot more attention by the way they dress. Okay, I like eye candy too. Doesn't mean I'm gonna buy anything from you though. You know how people do. They talk real seductively. Okay, I like that too. I like them sounds in my ear too. So, but I know better. I know better, and a lot of us are picking that up. That if someone has to do all that, then, do you want to be involved with somebody that has to manipulate you that way? Probably not. I get bored, to be honest. And I got bored with a particular person, that I had been following and listening to. After a while, I got bored, because you can only seduce somebody for so long. And then it's like, okay, what else you got there? What else is in your package, right? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and send peace and love all over the stars, moon, and mountain. I hope you see me. I hope you feel me. I hope you hear me. Okay? Spread universal love. Spread self-love. Talk to you soon. Trust me. I'll be back.